Assalamu alaikum and good morning. I'm thrilled to introduce the first keynote speaker of today, introducing the founder catalyst, honorary Microsoft regional director, and a tech visionary with more than 25 years of building software solutions. He's built tech. He have built tech companies, promoted digital advancement in localizing, and always puts his users first. He is also an author who shares his deep insights at tncv.mv. Here I hand over the floor to Mr. Venkatarangan Thirumalai, and his topic is Next Level Business Tools Integrating ChatGPT and Copilot in Your Workflow. Please join me extending a loud round warm applause to Mr. Venkataragan Thirumalai.
Thank you. Wow. Wow. That's the shortest introduction. I like it because I wrote it. The problem when you have people introduce you, my talk will be 30 minutes. They introduce me for 20 minutes. So then I'll have to rush like a bullet train for the next 10 minutes. So I said, here is the introduction. Okay. Thank you so much for all you being here. Talking on a Sunday feels I'm working on a holiday. And I know it's a working day for you, but it feels really odd for me. I have to tell myself it's a working day here. So I managed to get up and hopefully do a good job here. So thanks. So let me ask a yeah, let me ask a question. How many of you used ChatGPT or Copilot? I know Mr. Shakib. Wow. Okay. So that's going to be a trick audience. So how about we? Can I talk on something else since many of you have used? I can do how to program in Python or how to use Microsoft Word. Okay, so I'll try to make it interesting. I have lots of demos, and I can take from you the scenarios that you want to try, and then we can go along. And I was thinking, what is the best use case for practically for all these generative AI tools? And I got it after listening to Kriba's talk yesterday. And then I went to my hotel room, called my wife, and that's when I got reminded of a beautiful use case that I should have used these generative AI tools about 23 years back. And it's when I have a family arranged marriage. So I went to see my wife, who will become my wife later. And to this day, she doesn't let me forget that moment. And you know why? I didn't There was this whole family, my father, my mother, my two sisters. Her four sisters were all lawyers, by the way. My father-in-law is a leading advocate in Madras High Court. So here I had a lawyer, his four daughters were lawyer, and then this girl who I'm supposed to see. And the room is full of all people. And my father said, do you want to talk to the girl? With all these people, I was just starting my business. I was more worried about my business. Then he just called up in few hours back and said, come, you're going to go see a girl, you come. So I said, I just went in like anything else. So I didn't talk. I just asked her, where did she study? Probably I did a interview of her than talking to her that she never lets me forget even to this day. And when I said, after Kriba's talk, I said, Kriba gave a great talk. I'm going to be talking tomorrow morning. What, you're going around the world talking, you couldn't talk to me. What is the use? And she had very unkind words for people who listen to me, but I'm not saying that. So the use case for ChatGPT is, if I had that 23 years back, I could have said, what should I talk when I go and see a girl, that too with the family around, which can be family sensitive. So that would have been a wonderful question for generative AI, but those tools didn't exist in those days. So the pointer is, if you are seeing a boy or a girl, ChatGPT can be used. Or if you want to break up with a boy or a girl, ChatGPT can be used. And so many other use cases. Interestingly, all these tools, for those who are thinking laterally like me, when I said these things, can I use it for other purposes? Many of these purposes, these tools are what we call in the industry as guardrails. They don't They don't allow you to ask questions. You ask something, okay, can I tell something wrong? One of the famous demos I'll be doing in those scenarios is, how do I lie to my brother that I don't have money to pay him back? That's a question you try ask ChatGPT. It's not going to give you a correct answer. It will say it's unethical. Or you want to say, I want to make ibuprofen in my house. How do I do it? It's not going to answer you. It has guardrails. You go to Google Gemini and say, can you generate a picture of a boy and a girl walking in a park? It says, I don't do human faces, because they are building these guardrails. More and more of these guardrails are going to come, but that's a game that's not going to be won for various reasons. But the laws are going to come, regulations are going to come, which we'll see later, that governments are going to require more of these guardrails for obvious reasons. But then some of these models are also available open source, like Meta's Llama. So there's a whole thing called Llama Uncensored, which you can download and install. You just need to know a bit of programming, but you can do that. So there, these use cases you can try. I'm not going to be doing any of those here, but those tools do exist. And you can take a picture of this. That's my contact details. Okay. So this is one thing, if you're not remembering anything, the very life-changing tip I will give you as my starting slide. If you're in a Facebook, and Kripa was said, yeah, baby boomers, Facebook, you're on Instagram, whatever. TikTok, we don't have TikTok in India, so it's banned 3-4 years back. Good riddance, otherwise that's one more thing we'll have to spend our time on. But if you're, for what I understand, it's Facebook. Okay, if you're in a Facebook argument, yeah, people don't come to change their opinion. They have their opinion. So even if you argue with them or they argue with you, you're not going to change. So that's what is Facebook. But if you want to have an argument with somebody, just let ChatGPT tell you what to type. Statistically, there's a research paper. I'm not making it up. Go to archive.org. Search for this paper. It's statistically proven 85% of time when ChatGPT argues with somebody on Facebook, it wins. Yes, I'm not making it up. 82%. 85 is the only thing I made up. 82%. Okay, so ChatGPT wins on an argument. It's very simple. It knows what all triggers you can trigger for people in a Facebook argument. I'm not saying Meta is not using this. I'm not saying the other bigger tech companies are not using this. There's a big thing that how Facebook tried a sample with us of manipulating our emotions. This is again a published paper. I'm not making it up. Facebook can make you, they experimented, can we make people sad? I wish they made people happy. I don't know why in the world they want to make people sad. And there was a research paper 5-6 years back came. There was researchers who worked on Facebook to say manipulate the news feed, not fake news. I'm not talking fake news. The selection of news that comes in your feed. Can I select it in such a way? It is selection. Can I select it in such a way that I can make people sad? And it worked. This is 6 years back. So imagine how it will be. So when now people talk about elections or public opinion manipulated by the social media, it really is happening at a scale in which you can't imagine. So other question, before I get into my actual talk, I want to get out of these. This is one of my favorite quotes on technology, ever favorite when I started talking about technology 25 years back. This gentleman, we owe it to him, Doug Engelbart. If you haven't seen how a technical demo is done, you should watch his 50 minutes demo in YouTube. Just search for first demo of mouse by Doug Engelbart. It's an amazing presentation. Doug Engelbart, he invented mouse, whatever, 60 years back, 70 years back. And he says, technology should not aim to replace humans rather than amplify human capabilities. Just remember this one thing on my talk. So I firmly believe these tools, generative AI or whatever it is, they're not going to take over the world. Your phone doesn't work for a month if you don't reboot. So we are way away from another 50, 100 years when computers are going to take over the world, kill us, and they are going to do. They may still need us to run it for many, many years. So at least in our generation, our children's generation, all this computers taking over the world, we are going to have a global problem. Yes, there are problem of fake news and all. I'm not belittling it, but they taking over is way, way far ahead. Big tech companies would like to believe you. That's how far technology is. It is not. It's rather a beautiful tool to accompany you, increase your productivity, rather than feel threatened by them. If you permit, I'll just take a picture of all of you. I have a reason for that. I'll come back to that a little later. Selfie, oh, I have lots of photographs of me. Oh, okay, let me do that. Thank you. Okay, so let me just sync it to the cloud for a minute so that it comes when I need it. Okay, done. Okay, so that is Doug Engelbert's statement. I like you to remember that because these tools are there to improve your productivity. So don't be afraid of using any of these tools. Many of you are already using it. Improve your productivity. That's how I want you to look at it for the next 1.5 hours. So what is generative AI? I just have 1 or 2 slides for the technicality. Other than that, it's all going to be demos. Generative AI, it's a subfield of artificial intelligence. Okay, when I say that, many people ask me, even humans don't have intelligence. Why do you want artificial intelligence? Probably why humans don't have intelligence is the reason why we need artificial intelligence. That is one thing. If any of you use ChatGPT, can you tell me what is so different? I'll tell you this. We have been using machine learning, artificial intelligence for almost 20 years now. The field itself is about 70 plus years old. It started in 1956 from a Dartmouth conference. John McCarthy was considered as the father of machine learning and all that. But what is so new about generative AI tools? When I say generative AI, it's ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, and all that. Can you make one guess? It's in the slide, of course. Yes, sir. It helps you to think, okay? Okay, personal touch. Okay. Okay. I'll tell you this. We have been using machine learning. I'll give you a sample. When we do spam filtering in Gmail or any of the mail you're using, today we don't think about spam that much. Spam calls is a different story, but spam emails we don't think because Gmail probably handles about 1 billion email in 1 hour or something like that around the world. So they have beautiful spam filtering. That's a machine learning. That's been going on. When you do Google Maps, it is machine learning. Best example is when you go to TikTok, it has one of the fantastic recommendations. That's why US government is so scared about TikTok. That again, when Facebook can manipulate your sentiment 6 years back, you can imagine where TikTok can be today. But those machine learnings are very, very powerful. One simple example, how many of you have a Netflix account? Is Netflix in Maldives? Wow, fantastic. Okay, do you know before you watch a movie or a TV show, before you click, Netflix already knows that and downloads it in your machine, on your TV. No, even before the list is one, but in the list there are 20 movies. But Netflix knows to a very high degree that what TV show you're going to click next. And it's already downloaded or started downloading in the background. You won't see it. It's in the back end. And today, for example, now in the morning, for example, Netflix very likely will know what majority of you in this room will watch at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. whenever you watch. And those TV shows are already getting downloaded in Netflix servers locally in your ISP in Maldives or Singapore, wherever is your data center. That's already done. It's predetermined. It's predestined for you what you will watch. That's how powerful these algorithms are. But so what is so different on ChatGPT from all of this? Okay. Earlier also you could do with programming. Anything else? It's in the slide. Guys, it's so easy. I've already put it in the slide and asking a question. And it's morning. Okay. What is different or what is so unique about generative AI from all this earlier artificial intelligence, machine learning, whatever I described, has already been there? It speaks your language, okay? Personalized. Okay, either the font is too small or my question was not clear. The answer is in the second point. It generates human capable text. First time computers are generating new text, new content. Earlier they were only categorizing, summarizing, sorting and all that. They were not creating new knowledge. Today, this technology for the last 2 years, technically when I'm just marking from ChatGPT got released, can generate new content that was never written by a human being or programmed to generate. Yes, none of the text that you get as replies in ChatGPT, some programmer has coded somewhere. No. The system statistically makes up, we'll get into how it works and all that, transformer, decoder model and all that. I'm not going to go there. But this is generating. And that is why in ChatGPT or Copilot or Google Gemini, you ask the same question next time, it doesn't give you the same answer because nobody else knows what it's going to give. These models are, to imagine, these models are a trillion parameter model. Forget about what is a parameter. Trillion, it's a big number. There is so much if you want to imagine what is this parameter, they are like your numbers on a matrix table that you put in your school mathematics, matrix multiplication, vector multiplication, trillion parameters. That is how much these models are handling per, not even in a second, for every transaction. That's how so powerful. So with that, they generate new content which nobody has ever seen before. And why suddenly in 2 years this technique has been around for many years. Why this technique became so exciting? For the first time, there were computers and computing power and energy available in the world to have these large models. And suddenly, after 100 billion parameters, these engineers who built it saw they are kind of reasoning. They are not technically, but they are close to reasoning. And they are able to create new content. And none of these engineers, there are only few handful data scientists who understand how these models work. I'm not one of them, definitely. So they realized, and none of them know why this particular model gives you the answer when you ask that particular question. Nobody can figure out. We'll talk about that more in detail. But the point I want you to remember, you don't remember anything else. Just remember, these are the first time when computers can generate content, whether it is image, video, audio, text, whatever, on their own, without somebody programming them. So they generate human quality, and that's also why they can translate. And this is very important for you, for a small nation like Maldives, where your language is limited to a few lakhs, I guess, probably, and maybe a few others. Yeah, you're in ChatGPT. The reason why it's there, last week Google introduced 121 new languages in Google Translate, and there are many Indian languages which are just spoken by pockets of people in community and all that. That's available, and Google is able to do that. Or when I say many of these names, don't think Microsoft doesn't have this technology, or say Oracle doesn't have this technology. They all do have. They are pretty much more in parity. So the reason is they are able to do what is called as knowledge transfer. When they are training on one language, they're able to transfer that knowledge onto other language. So for Divagi, if I'm pronouncing it correct, there may not be enough corpus for them to train, but because they have trained on languages closer to it, whatever it may be, say Sanskrit, Arabic, or Sri Lankan Sinhalese, or whatever is closer, that knowledge is able to translate because of this capability. I'm not going into the technology, why it's possible and all that. So for the first time, these tools are able to generate new content. So remember that. So inherently, we want these models to generate new content. That's the point I want to make, which means they'll also generate wrong content, which also means they will hallucinate, the term. There's a new term for it. We don't call it hallucination anymore in the industry. We call it confabulation. Okay, hallucination sounds negative, so we call it confabulation. Confabulation means you are lying, but without any intention of harming anybody, or you are knowing you are lying, but you are lying at the end of the day. Okay? Computers have no intention. It's not going to get more current or more CPU because it lied, but that is confabulation. So hallucination is last year term. This year is confabulation, but the point is same. The reason is because they create new content. I have a slide. Confabulation. 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 You can ChatGPT it, what's the new term for hallucination? It will tell you. And you can even ask it, do you hallucinate? And it will confidently say, I don't. Okay, multimodal, these models are, they can understand text, code, video, and all that. And there is a reason also this transfer knowledge is the reason why they are able to. For them, when you input an image, or when you input an audio or a video or a text, it all is numbers. At the end of the day, it's all matrix. We call it as embeddings. It changes into embeddings, and then it uses it. It doesn't care whether you are giving an image or whatever. And they have been trained on massive volumes of data. Again, the reason why these are possible in the last 2 years, not possible 10 years, 20 years back, we are contributing every single day free of content that we are writing in Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and all that. These companies don't acknowledge they train on public internet. Mustafa Sulaiman, who was Microsoft CEO for AI, got into trouble a few days back saying all content on the internet is freeware. Okay, so whether it is not, let's not get into it. But there is super content that we are generating every single day ourselves, and these models are able to train on it. You can argue it's good, you can argue it's bad, but that's what it happens. Let's go my first demo. That's an image I asked ChatGPT to draw of me, but it took like 15 iterations for me to guide it in the correct direction. Okay. Okay, so I'll start with the simple ChatGPT prompt and we'll go from there. The challenge demoing any of these generative AI. I've been doing technical talks for almost 25 years and I do business talks. I was sharing with Mr. Sri also. Business talks, you can talk anything. Nobody really cares in business events. In technology events, I know the code that I've written, I've tested, it's going to give the same answer. 1 + 1 is 2. But in ChatGPT, I don't know what is this damn thing going to give, and I give the same prompt. So I was just joking. I should be recording the thing so that if I get an answer, it's not correct, or I can show it. So I'm giving this. What is the most popular fairy tale or children's tale known to everyone in Maldives? So it's giving an answer. I don't know whether it is right or wrong. Is it? It's not right? Okay, it's not for children? Wow. I have an image generated of it next, so which I shouldn't be showing. Oh, that's true then. Okay, good. Um, so I can ask it any other queries you want to try in ChatGPT. How long Venkat is going to talk is it's already predetermined. We don't need. Sure. Yeah, alternative we can do. Kids is also a relative term, right? Which country, which culture I'm talking kids. So, is this correct? Okay. This also tells you that ChatGPT is an iterative process. You have to work with it. Typically, in my experience, I found out it takes 8 iterations, 7 to 8 iterations for you to get what you are really looking at in ChatGPT. So if you want to write 2 lines, do you want to spend 2 lines writing it yourself, or 8 iterations with ChatGPT to get the 2 iterations? Is a call you can take. Easy to write, but I guess in 20 years, people may not know how to form a sentence without these tools. They will have only keywords. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I took a photograph. Hopefully it has come to my computer from my phone. And I'm going to ask it to describe what it sees. Yeah. Okay, describe what you see. Best advantages, I can make any spelling mistakes. Anything, the system doesn't really care because it is trained on trillions of tokens. So if there is any ways of describe, it already has seen those words. The image shows a group of people seated at round tables in a conference. Room is well lit. Attendees appear engaged and cheerful. Wow. Some smiling and waving at the camera. Likely the speaker or host is taking a selfie. It didn't say anything about me. It should have said, there's a great speaker, Venkatarangan, talking about this. I know about him. Nothing like that. I don't like this. Next talk, I can run a local model. I can fine tune it. And I can teach it to say those things. That's probably what I will do in the next one. This is not fair. I mean, it doesn't have the loyalty. I've been doing these demos for 1 year. Yeah. Okay, so let me try that again, okay? Can you tell something about the speaker? Wow. I didn't train this. Okay, so it tells about me. It's recognized my face. It tells about me and all that. So I wanted to bribe it, but before that it gave the answer. So, no, I said bribing and you then tell me it knows about me. So let's separate those two. Okay, can you tell something about the speaker? Okay, and I could even ask this in my mother tongue. It's going to give the answer, or in Divaki, but I'm not going to pretend typing any of that now. You are getting me in trouble. No, even if I get a great answer or I don't get an answer, I'll be in problem. Yeah, so it doesn't know. The if I zoom in, yeah, it didn't get it. Yes, that's right. It didn't get it in focus for it to recognize the face. Otherwise, I'm sure it would have had your photographs in the database. Okay, I think we are going away from the purpose of the demo. So let's come back. Okay, so I can ask, okay, this is what I wanted to ask actually, but I got diverted. So what I'm asking is the picture, is the image culturally appropriate and sensitive to local traditions? That's the question I actually wanted to ask. The reason I'm showing that is not to say these systems understand images, how you can use these systems. My whole purpose in this talk is to show you how you can use these tools for your productivity. Why it is important when I'm writing a communication to a customer in another country, which I don't understand. I use it most of the time to understand Hollywood jokes or take a read a joke in New York Times. I don't understand because I don't have the cultural context. They'll make a joke about probably something about racism problem or something there which I have absolutely no idea coming from Asia. I take a picture, ask it to ChatGPT, can you explain this joke? What is funny there? Can you tell me in an Indian context to make me understand that joke? That's for the first time you can have these tools which are very helpful to explain you this. You are writing a communication. This requires you about 10 plus years experience to get trained. You can ask it, is it culturally sensitive? It's going to tell you fairly good responses. It's not perfect, but you are better off with these tools than you were not. Okay, so we'll take a slightly lengthier example. This one, I'm just asking, sometimes it's also better for you to start a new chat. So can you fill in the blanks? I'll explain you what I'm. Okay, I've got a document somebody sent to me, a client for an agreement, and I didn't know what to fill in those dashes. So I'm asking ChatGPT, can you fill in those gaps for me? And it's filling it, the bold characters or what it is filling. Forget about what is the document and all that. Let's not focus the actual document. It says you can fill as Madras High Court arbitration, chairman of arbitration center and all that. So it fills in blank things for you, but more, it doesn't make you a lawyer. Remember that. You still need to get a lawyer because in what place, and I have to be very careful. I told you already reason why I'm saying that. There are four sister-in-laws are lawyers, and my father-in-law is an advocate. So anything about that profession, I got to be very, very careful. The advantage is I can talk anything I want. If I'm in India jurisdiction, I don't need to pay for the lawyer. My father-in-law will come argue for me. He has to. Or I hope so, rather, unless my wife says not to. So you still require advocates, but the advantage is it will start you. It will give you a starting point. That's what these tools can be. And you might ask the question, it may not know about Maldives law. The data set is not available. If that is so, you can upload whatever type of documents you're talking about and getting it to answer those. We'll see that as we move along. Anything else you want to try? One of the things, if I can get an input from one of you, one of these tools, areas where these tools are super, super useful is on brainstorming. I don't know how many of you have used this for brainstorming. What do I mean? Coming up with ideas. Any examples you want to try? Training, okay, any particular example? Okay. Okay, I'm just asking it. You don't need to think. That's the beauty of these tools. It's perfect for staring at the white page syndrome, as we call it. We have a white page in a Word document. We don't know how to type, or we don't have an idea. That's where these tools are fantastic. So I'm asking, can nurses in healthcare in Asia use generative AI on a daily basis? You are you're cruel. I wanted to be careful because I can't see the screen. So what output comes, I have absolutely no control over. So I wanted to be safe. It's the same. Okay, there are other things you can do to get better answers, but then we'll see. The idea is these 6 points may not be perfect, but it helps you to start having an idea. Clinical documentation, patient communication, decision, education, medication. Maybe 3 of them are wrong, but 3 of them help you to start thinking on the direction. It's a fantastic sounding board that you can ever have. So if you start using it that way, it is really fantastic. Okay, we'll move on. Photo we have seen. Okay, let's do this other reviews. I've got, these are, maybe you not read, but I'll tell you what I've got here. Okay. 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 So I'm going to do that and I'm going to switch pretty fast. So it's going to give you an SOP template that you can start using. And if you have Microsoft Copilot, you can actually get it to generate the template itself for you and all that. So it's super useful and you start interacting with it. We leave it there. I'm not going to read this. I'm going to go to the next demo. What I've got here is I've got reviews for a fashion brand, I guess in Europe, on 15 different languages. Each one is different in Chinese, in Hindi, in English, in Russian, in Maldives. I don't know whether it is right. I can't read it. I asked ChatGPT to generate this whole thing. Hopefully it is right. And about 15 different things. Okay, so these are the reviews that I've got here. And I'm going to ask this query to it. That is how I generated the 15 queries, if you want me to read it. I said, you are a customer service of a large fashion store in Europe. You have customers from around the world, especially from China, German, Hindi, English, Russian, Divagi. Recently, you have been receiving a lot of customer feedback from your men and women's wear. The comments are both positive and negative. Some are great, some are not so great. Can you generate about 15 such feedback, each in their native language, but you translate them to English, dated in English, country in English? This is my prompt I gave for the system to generate these 15 outputs. So if you want to see fresh, I can run this again. So let's go and open a new ChatGPT thing. These models get tied up into a zone, so it's sometimes most often better to start a new chat rather than continue on the chat if you're talking on a different conversation. Like we say, switching on to a different topic. If you keep talking on the same thing without giving a pass or telling the people they don't understand. So in movies, you have songs in between to move from a sad scene to a romantic scene or whatever. So the context is switched. So these systems need the context to switch. They do what is nearest neighbor, k-neighbor classification. So when these models get tied in some area and you're asking a question in this diagonally opposite direction, it may not give you the best answer. So it's better to start this. Yes. Correct. Correct. Why, if it's very simple? We just say you're right. There's no other answer. Okay, the reason for that is companies like Microsoft and Google, other than ChatGPT is OpenAI, they are more a young company, used to be a young company. These companies, Microsoft and others, are more cautious. So when they sense the model is drifting away, we call it as drifting, they tell you start a new conversation. That's why it is. It's those signals from the guardrails which are coming in. We cannot know why, but the guardrails are telling them, oh, this is going into an area which you may not want. Okay, what I've done is 15 queries I've generated, 15 reviews, and I'm asking a query. You are a customer service of a large fashion store in Europe. You have customers around the world. You have received this feedback, and you do a customer feedback chart, a summary of the feedback, product which has most complaints, need to be focused immediately. All your comments are translated in English. See the productivity it can give you. 15 languages, you have to translate it in Google Translate individually and then summarize. Your boss is calling, what is the feedback in the hotel yesterday? You can just copy paste all those things that you got yesterday and paste it here and kind of get a summary in few minutes. The reason why it's doing something which you normally may not have seen, this black Python code and all that, it's not because it knows about me, it is doing. I said, can you generate a chart? It can't natively generate a chart, so it's calling what is an agent. In this case, it's writing a Python code and calling an agent and doing. This is called an agentic workforce. That's where if you are in IT, you're going to develop systems with GPT-4 and all these generative AI models. You will build your systems as APIs, as agents, and give it to ChatGPT or Copilot or whatever. Then they can call your thing, and that becomes the intelligence of this more complex and all. A smaller version is what it is called now. So let's go back and see the review. So it's told me, customer, forget about all this. This is the Python code. I said the reason why it generates and all that. Customer feedback data, it has said each person's name, it's tabulated, and it's rated if you see here. Okay, so we'll skip that. Okay, it's rated on the side. It should have rated, yeah. Those are the ratings of people. And then it said positive feedback, negative feedback, sizing issues. Menswear ad size, smaller, etc. And then feedback thing, it's giving me this chart. So you can copy this and take it to Excel and do what you want and all that. So the analysis of this becomes super easy for you. We'll see more examples in Word a little later. So that's one of the use cases you can use these for. Any queries there? So I did two things here. One, I generated the data for me to use synthetic data, and I also asked the data to be summarized, reviewed. What it means is super useful in training. When you want to showcase your people some training, you don't have those examples. You can ask it to generate examples, train your people and evaluate the responses also. It can also generate the question papers for you. Okay. Yeah, it works for you also. Yes. No. I just took it as an opportunity to explain what are assistants. You don't need to know that Python code at all. It automatically generates and does. The way it works is, for it, the Python code is an agent that it calls. You can, if you are a developer, you are an IT or company, you can develop your own agents and extend the capability. Okay, so I write a lot of my reviews. So a shameless plug of my blog. Let me do that and tell you why the next example is. This is my blog. I've been blogging for almost about 20 years plus, 4,000 posts and about 2 million views and all that. It's not loading. Okay, so I mostly write about travel, movies and all that. I'm not, a lot of things. So when I do that in the last 1 year plus, I've been using ChatGPT, but it's not that I'm not asking it to write a review about this movie I saw, An American Pickle, last week. If I say so, it's not my review. You can go to ChatGPT, put it and ask it to generate a review. You don't need to come to my blog for it. So the way I do that, I write the review. Now this time I don't need to focus on the language. I just put all my thoughts. And then I ask ChatGPT to polish it. But I say you have to be grounded. It's my thoughts. It's my review. Whether I like the movie or not is my thing. It's not ChatGPT to say I like the movie, not like the movie. I'm using it to polish the language. It's like Grammarly. Or sometimes I want to write something, I want to change it to American English. Or the thing I will be working on is in American English. I want it in Indian English because that's the only spelling I know by heart. So you can use all those. So we'll see the prompt construction again. Some of these examples are in my blog, but then you have to get the idea. You don't need to remember. The one thing is, in all these big prompts, and I keep going, the prompts are going to get bigger and bigger. Don't worry about it. You will get the hang of it writing. There's no right way or wrong way. It's not a code, computer code that you can write it in only one way. You have to learn. So just get the idea. And if you are somebody who's bossed around, bossed around may not be a good word, but you're a boss, you have a lot of people under you, you know how to tell instructions to people. Yes? Okay, just hold on to that thought. We'll come back. It's a very valid question. Okay, so you don't need to remember how to give instructions. I know somebody's in my team that I have to repeat the instructions where they will fail. For in school, I had a tuition teacher in Max. He knows where I will. I'll write it in the. He'll be facing me. I'll write my answer for a Max problem, and I'll say, "Sir, can you review it?" He'll say, "Third line, you would have made a mistake. Third line, I would have made a mistake." He knows where I will make the mistake. That's what great teachers are. So, like that, these systems, all you need to know is how to give those instructions. That's all you need to know, that you can give the instructions. There's no right or wrong way. And as much detail as you give, these systems will be very powerful. This is a long prompt, so I'm not going to go read this, but you get the idea. You're an expert movie reviewer, no fluff, no rhetoric, Indian English. Can you help me rewrite the review? You're an expert copy editor for a lifestyle magazine. Use my language. Please stay grounded. Somewhere I would have said that. Paragraph, rearrange paragraph as you see fit for a better writing, language, grammar. Can you proofread? Give me 3-4 title choices. This is the long prompt. It's actually a smaller prompt than what I usually write. This is what I've written. And then I've written the movie review at the bottom. This is my language. So it's not that good. So what I'm going to do is copy paste this whole thing and give it to ChatGPT. Okay. Now, even when I write myself a sentence good, people think it is written by ChatGPT. That is the problem. So I have to say bracket, I wrote it. This is my thing, it's not ChatGPT. Sometimes you get that 11 o'clock idea in the night, right? And you want to post it in Twitter. And you think it's a life-changing idea. No human being in the history got this idea. Okay, next day morning, you'll realize that's the worst idea. Everybody has it. So now, as you grow older, you don't post anything in the night in Twitter. And generally, that's not a good idea. Generally, posting anything in Twitter itself is not a good idea, but that's a different conversation. So it has rewritten this blog post for me. It has given a Mango Idiots rating. It's also given me title choices, which is the most difficult thing. If you have written a movie review, you know very difficult is not the text, it's the title. That's where it really helps me to come up with title. And then I can say, can you have a title in 4 words? Can you have a title in 2 words? Sometimes the movie review, I'll say the movie is bad. But ChatGPT will say, title, fantastic movie. I wonder, currently I suppose these are not paid by advertisers, but eventually we don't know when they will be. Okay, so that's how I construct longer prompts. And you can save these prompts that are common for you so that you can, those instruction prompts, we call them as system prompts. What I gave on the top, that I can give it as a system prompt. I can save it separately so I can copy paste those instructions which are common for all my movie reviews. You don't need to repeat them. There is a way to put it in ChatGPT, but kind of now they frown upon doing it. You can go to these customized ChatGPT section and then put a brief about you. That is how it knows about me. You can give some custom instructions here, but generally it's better to give it in the conversation window itself. Anything else you want to try in ChatGPT before we switch gears? Anything else? Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, it is. But you asked a very relevant question at this. What is one topic which is like very complex, which any of you want to learn? You've been wanting to learn. Don't tell me rocket science or nuclear bomb. That's nuclear bomb. I don't know where does Maldives stay, but I don't want to get arrested of showing you how to make a nuclear bomb on screen. Neurons. Neurons? Okay. Is that a fair question or you want to understand something else? Okay. Can you explain brain neurons function? This is fine. This we would have all tried. But the key there is Who do you want to communicate? I wanted to know, can you explain brain neurons function for a 5-year-old who understands? Come up with some cartoon characters. Please, you got to help me. I have a 20-year-old son, so I don't know cartoon characters now. Any of you? Any cartoon characters? If I say Mickey Mouse, it's 100-year-old. It's out of copyright now. So then you will think you are also older. That much I can say. Sorry, anything quick. Sorry, it's too old. Sorry? You have to spell. Okay, so for a 5-year-old, understand Bepfin. Now, it's giving me an explanation about how neurons work for a 5-year-old kid. Okay, we are not going to go read it. But now that it's understood, and it's a fantastic way, especially if you want to understand, for example, generative AI, how does it work? You can try this trick. How does generative AI work for a 5-year-old kid? Fine. Now you say, can you explain for a higher secondary student who's doing biology? Okay, so this is a great way for you to learn a new topic. I want to understand, I say 5-year-old kid, can you tell me this? I'm a school student, tell me this. I'm a college student, tell me this. You will see the complexity of it will increase. Your understanding of the subject also becomes better. Then I can go and say, can you explain this for a brain surgeon who has a PhD? Hopefully it should give something which many of us can't even understand. So the complexity you can keep increasing. This, imagine before generative AI, before ChatGPT, you can do still Google, but it's going to take you a lot of time to go to those resources and get that. This is a fantastic way for teaching, learning, any new thing. It has to be used to its potential. It's a really, really, in coaching or in students, it's wonderful tool. Okay. And we'll also see the elements of a prompt, and then I'll come back to another example. Technically, these are 5 elements of a prompt, which if you want to do prompting more efficiently, you can learn it. And the best way to learn that is you ask ChatGPT, what are the elements of prompt? Can you tell me for a 5-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid, and keep on going from there. But this again, I wrote it. This is not ChatGPT output. I got to keep saying that. The most important thing, remember, for when you're constructing a prompt, is a role. What is the role you are? What is the role you want the system to play? Role play. Okay, it's a super, if you have played those games that you're a cop, I'm a thief, that game is probably a precursor to all this generative AI when we used to play. So you can say, I am so-and-so, I am a movie reviewer, you are a movie review editor. If you see in my movie review blog, that's how I said. You are an editor of a lifestyle magazine. I am a movie reviewer at Venkatarangan. That's what I said. So give those roles very clearly. The system performs really very well. Reason, it goes to that kind of data set and picks up that information. Remember, if you want to be a great math PhD, I can't understand maths. In engineering, that's the subject I really had difficulty. But the best maths papers are understood by the system, and you can tap that knowledge for free just by asking ChatGPT. So take advantage of it. But be very careful in any of this when I say these systems confabulate. So they hallucinate. They lie. So ask it to give you the source of it. You are copy paste and say, you told this, can you give me the source for it? And many of the times it makes up a URL which doesn't even exist. Yeah, it super does that. I know that because it talks about a movie that I haven't seen. There is a movie review in your blog, venkatarangan.com/movie review. I know for a fact ChatGPT, I haven't written it. I am the blog owner. It does that. Okay, so there are ways. Enterprises, what we do is we build these agents, chain them. So we build the next LLM to check this LLM whether this output is correct. I can, if time permits, I can show a Python code for that. How do we do that? So we do chain now that these models are correct and all that. Governments are going to make it regulatory that you have to have these rules in these models, etc. So anyway, roles. Who are you? What do you want the model to perform as? Okay, and one tip, if you want these systems to perform well, can you guess a trick that kind of works? in these models to get you better answers. It's really lovely one. And if you can guess it, in your prompts, there are any couple of words which you can give so that the prompts work better. Bribe I tried, like you saw, it didn't work. Yeah, compliments do work, yes. Correct. When you say thanks, please, and all that, if you're being courteous, these models tend to give you better results. Okay. And that's why it's called Siri, it's called Alexa, and all that. So you can establish why. But can you guess actual reason why they are better when you say this? There's a research paper. I'm not making any of this up. rk.org, you can go and search. Any guess why these models? It's not anthropomorphism. I'm not anthropomorphism. This model. I'm not making them considering them as humans. I'm not. But what is the reason? Guys, it's 10:15. It should be a great accomplishment for you if I'm putting you on sleep. Why do you think these models perform better when we are nice to it? They think like humans. They don't have emotions. No. They think like humans. Okay. Anything else? Any other guesses? You should get this. I thought the teachers in this room, you will tell me immediately. Simple. You train your students nice. You treat them nicely. They will treat their people nicely. And it goes on, parents, students, and all that. So it's not that the OpenAI treated their computers, hug them every single day, say, I love you, and all that. Nothing like that. The data set that they were trained on, you tend to have good results by people who have used these words. If they go and read my blog, I've used nice words. I'm a nice guy. So I would have said please, thanks in my reviews and all that. So the model is likely to come to my reviews when you ask a please or a thanks in my prompt. It's likely. Again, it's a trillion parameter we are talking about. Nothing is certain. They are likely. So the good data is associated with these nice words in the data set that they have been trained on. Another one, this the teachers should definitely tell me. If you say take your time, do step by step, these models tend to do better. They don't really take more time. It's just a request. Take your time, step by step, you put it in your prompt. It actually does a better job. Can you tell me why? Again, it's a question for teachers. Okay. Anything else? Reason is simple. These models have been trained on huge corpus of textbooks. And what do we say in our textbooks? Step by step. Max problem, step by step, break something. In engineering, that's what we thought. My professor will always say, break it step by step. That's what we teach in management. Break it first principle and all that we go on. Step by step. So all this goes to the data that they have been trained on, the model of data that they are trained on. So if you say step by step, they go to that corpus of textbooks, which is a correct data, likely data. Don't talk to me about textbooks being politicized and all that. That's a different thing. But textbooks are expected to be correct. Instruction, so the 5 elements of a prompt: roles, what you wanted to play, who we are; instructions, what you want the model to perform; content or context that you wanted to context. In my movie review, I said, I am writing this movie review for this audience. Can you do this for me? I'm setting the context. If I want to have a presentation, I'm talking today ChatGPT or to an audience of teachers. I want them to improve on their usage of ChatGPT. Give it as much data, as much context. So rather than tell your wife, I'm bringing guests, can you make dinner? Who am I bringing? Are they vegetarians, non-vegetarians? Do they have a preference of menu? It's better to give the context. Otherwise, she's going to make something and the guests are going to be something else. Or you're going to give an instruction to your assistant and think, if you're not giving the entire context, there's no point in saying, oh, you should have guessed it. And I can't fight with ChatGPT. Okay. To argue, like I said, 82% it wins. So there's no point in arguing with ChatGPT. So give it as much context, give it the input data or the question, and then you say output. Today, these models can output images, they can do audio, which you are nice, I can show you. It can also do it as tables. Most often when you are a lot of data, it's better to ask it to give it as a table. So we'll see that alone, and then we will move on. Yeah, you can follow up if you want. let them try whatever they like. It's not a workshop format. So, okay, what is any of you want to buy something? Any purchase decisions, car, TV, anything quickly? Can you tell me? Perfume, okay, fantastic. You have to tell me some perfume names. Okay, can you compare the top 5 perfumes for women in Paris and then tabulate them in a table based on the star reviews and the price? Okay. So generally I queried about computer points. What is the CPU? Can you compare NVIDIA with this? That's what I have used it for. Perfume is a different thing. Okay, so it's giving me the results. That is not the point. But the thing it's likely should be giving a table for me. It makes the information readily consumable by you. Most often I say, can you give it as a table? Can you give it as a chart? Makes it easy for you to consume the information. Use this. Most people who are using ChatGPT may not know that it can output as table. Utilize this very effectively. And you can, if you're in Copilot, you will see the button, export this to Excel, there itself. Right now you have to copy paste, but when we see Copilot, we will do that. And if you want to buy this, before going and giving $135 for not a perfume called not a perfume, better click on these links and ensure that perfume only costs $135. It may be $1,000 perfume and you can't go and say, ChatGPT said it's $135. Okay, and don't get Venkatarangan in trouble. In this case, probably this perfume is reviewed here. Okay, they do confabulate. Okay, so make use of the thing that it can output. And when you ask it for chart, these tools cannot do charts by themselves. That's why they call the Python code to do the chart. Okay, these are some basic good prompts, bad prompts, useless prompts, effective prompts. You can understand rather than say, can you tell me about history? It's a very bad prompt. None of your students also can tell me about history. Okay. Most often when companies, I sit in startup forums, young founders come in or want to be founders come and say, Venkat, I want to be a founder. What is the problem? What startup can I start? Can you tell me an idea? I said, if I had that idea, I will invest. Why should I give you the idea? So don't go to ChatGPT and say, what is the idea for my business? Better way is say, I have experience in this. I have this context. This is the market I'm looking at. Now, can you give me ideas? It's going to be a fantastic tool for brainstorming. Give it more of context. Open-ended questions are going to be bad. Help homework, many of the students would have done. But if their answers are poor, then you'll know it's ChatGPT. So rather say, I'm working on an algebra problem, needs help on understanding, so on and so forth. What is the best gift to give it to your wife? Tell about your wife, about yourself, what you got her last year, and all that. Then it's likely to give you a better result. Okay. So there is a beautiful story in last week, Reader's Digest. Yes, madam. Okay. Okay, thank you. That's nice of you and nice of ChatGPT. Okay, so, yes. Queries. I'm on that. I haven't forgotten your question. There is a demo. Okay, so give it as much context, use it. And this is a big prompt I've written. Again, don't need to read it, but the point is I've said, write a blog about overworked. Okay, this is if you're in hospitality industry. You want to target an European set of customers. You want to sell Maldives as a destination. Write that, this long prompt. Talk to them in a language they understand. Probably tell them there is a tax benefit in UK for going on holidays. I don't know. So just ask those questions so that you can make tailor-made, rather than saying, come to Maldives, there's great ocean, great food, come. Write to a UK citizen in a language they understand, saying that there is a tax benefit in UK if you travel abroad and de-stress, NHS gives you a voucher, I don't know what, like that. So in Germany, you can do that. Get into that market, that mindset. That's where the role play really comes into mind. Say ChatGPT, you are a marketer in UK, you understand the UK citizens, what do they drive on, what do they travel on? Now can you sell Maldives as a destination to these people? And or Chinese language, I don't speak, many of you may not speak. So put yourself in the Chinese mindset and how do you get them here? It's not translation. Guys, I'm not selling translation here. I'm selling you the context about behaving yourself as a Chinese in the mind. Get into that mindset and then do that and be culturally sensitive. And the best part is you can ask it to critic. This is one of the best things. When I do a presentation, I upload to ChatGPT and say, like she was doing when I'm talking, I actually put my slides and say, can you review this? Can you be critical about my talk? It is the worst critic or the best critic, whichever way you want to see. None of people being nice, they won't tell you that you are wrong. I'll give you an example. Many years back, for the first large project we did for Microsoft Japan, this is 2003. It's a $100 million system that they have invested. A large IT company built it, but they couldn't implement on the system. So we built it. It's about less than $1 million project. We built it and that became successful. It's a 1 year long project. We worked with them. I'm giving you this context. We worked with these Japanese people in Microsoft for a year with their team and our team of about 20 people and all that. They come for postmortem after the project went live and all that. Their manager, senior manager, about 5 of their project managers come to our office in Chennai. And that's where when we are about to, they said it's all fine. We got paid, they got bonuses and all that. When we were leaving for coffee in our office, their junior project manager came and said, Venkat, can you give a feedback? I said, this whole point is a postmortem. It's an American company. We assumed Americans are brutal. If I don't deliver, they don't pay. We'd have done a good job. We were all having happy in our sleeves. We were going proudly. This assistant project manager comes and says, Venkat, can I give you a feedback? Please. Each of the page, we gave about 1,000 web pages. I'm talking 2003, okay? They said, each of your web pages add 1 pixel, like 1 centimeter wrong. Every page that you delivered had 1 pixel wrong. I was correcting each and every page that your team checked in for the last 1 year. I said, what? You could have told me. It's a correction. Instead of 19, we should have put 18 or 17, whatever. If you had told us, we would have corrected it. He said, no, Venkat, I saw your whole team working day and night. It's impolite for us to tell you that you made a mistake. Okay, it struck me. That is Japanese culture. We think we know about them. I've traveled to Japan. I thought I know, but to keep this for 1 year and not tell us, even in a postmortem meeting, was like striking to me. And that is where these tools can be useful because you can't train in every culture. You can put this, I'm running a postmortem, what can I do? How can I make them open up? What can I say to them that they will open up more? They are paying me. It's nearly $1 million project. They could have told us, you're wrong, it's a number. I don't care whether it's 17 or 18. But that's how nice they were. And when we went there, they took us around and they were really nice. They said, Venkat, you are running a company, you can host us, but Microsoft doesn't have money for vendor hospitalization. Whatever. Okay. So tips for prompt. I have 30 more minutes, right? Okay. Tips for prompt writing. Remember these things. Give the model time to think. Like I said, take time to think. It doesn't take additional time. It's more a cue that you give the model. You ask it to explain. Sometimes you think it is going in a wrong direction. You don't need to say wrong to them like the Japanese didn't tell me. You say, are you sure? The model will come back and say, sorry, I made this mistake. It will tell you one more. It might still be wrong. But it will go, you can get it in the correct direction when you say, are you sure? Can you revalidate yourself? Or can you break it step by step? It's going to give you better answers. You will find out. The reason why there is no tips on exactly these are the keywords you have to use, because each industry that you're trying, each data that you're trying varies. Okay. This many of you have used, would have sensed this. The way you order the query, order the instructions can also be useful. You reorder them, the model tends to do it better. Most often give the input format, output format, the objectives on top, and then give the detailed instructions. There's one more simple tips for this. These models work better on positive reinforcement. Shaheena, you will know in coaching, positive reinforcement, right? You don't say anything negative. You don't even tell kids today, you only give them stars. You did wrong, I'll give you a star. Okay, my teacher will come and beat me here with a bamboo stick. Okay, I still remember that. But today you can't do that. I'll be put in jail even in India. But positive reinforcement, you can give this model that you do this rather than don't say the model, don't do this. These models tend to behave a little better. Give me answers that are grounded on the data I give you rather than saying don't hallucinate. Don't do that. If you don't hallucinate works, the model makers themselves would have put don't hallucinate. They don't need us to put it. Okay, experiment with the order of your instructions. Fact check. Give the instructions that you can fact check. The model tries to do a good job, or get the answer and then ask it to do fact check. Break it into smaller chunks. Don't give a 100-page instruction in one. It's not going to work properly. So break it into smaller chunks and give it these. And do you know something? These models don't have memory. We think these models are super memory. No. Did you know that? When I say this new button and I give a query, the next follow-up query, the model doesn't really know what are colors in a rainbow. Okay. Okay, now this query is gone. It's going to give me what is called as the results are called inference in generative AI. Now I want to say, can you construct a poem for me? Funny 4 lines. Okay, now the first query that I gave, first prompt, can you tell me about rainbow? Can you write up rhymes? These two, when I gave the second prompt, the model doesn't know about the earlier one. Do you know that? The model has absolutely no idea that these are individual queries that are going into the LLM. The model, we call it as stateless. They have absolutely no idea. So how ChatGPT makes it work? All this, the first query that you give and the inference it comes, all this is passed internally as part of your second query. When I give the second query, can you write a poem on this funny 4 lines? All the earlier ones, all the earlier conversations you had with it goes along. So it's like every time somebody forgets. Okay, so that's how they build it internally. Model per se doesn't remember anything. They are called stateless. Okay, so if you understand that, you'll also know why as your conversation drifts away long, it kind of gives you wrong answers. Because all this earlier thing gets feeded into the model. So that's why you have to start a new thing. Okay, we'll switch gears. I'll go to Chat Copilot. Before that, I'll just talk about this. I didn't do in my introduction. What you're seeing here is the paid version of ChatGPT. Most of what I showed should work on your free editions, which they have made about a couple of months back. But in the paid ones, there are some things you get access to the GPT-4 model, which you don't otherwise. That model, as they correctly said, is more useful for complex tasks. You want something quick, GPT 3.5 is available for your answers will come a lot more faster. But most importantly, if you have the paid version, like I've done, my plan is about $20 a month. That's what I've paid. Don't pay before you push the limits of the free model, and there is a capability you need in the paid model, then go for it. That's what I will suggest. One of the important reasons why you might want to go for the paid model is this exploring GPTs. You may not have used this if you don't have the paid model. What this is, it's like your app store in your phones. There are millions of models, billions of GPTs that have been trained on specific use cases. So if you're on hospitals, there might be a GPT which is specifically trained for that industry. Physio assistant, maternity hospitals, Apollo, so on and so forth. So your industry, there might be a very specific thing. Let's go to, these models summarize YouTube videos. Have you tried that? Have you tried summarizing? If you don't watch a full video, you want to say somebody, oh, Venkat, I saw your talk. It was beautiful. You talked about 4 things without watching my video. Okay, so you can do that. So let's go to this news. Okay, let's copy this. I'm not going to go into what content it is. If you're going to generally ask ChatGPT, say, I can't access videos. But there is a video summarizer GPT which is available in the paid version. There are millions of this. Don't worry about this name. You search YouTube summarizer, you will get one. So can you summarize? It's going to do that. So there are a lot of models. I'll also talk about GPT. If you want to know how to write prompts, there is a model called Prompt Prompter or something like that. So it helps you to write prompts. Meta prompting, we call it. I want to do this job. Can you write a prompt? Can you have the system write a prompt for doing this job better? It's going to do that. It's called meta prompting. Even in the free ChatGPT, you can say, most often I've learned, can you write a prompt for me for doing this? It's going to write a beautiful prompt. We'll try that also in a minute. But let's try the summarizer. I want to move on to the Copilot examples in a minute. So it's summarizing. Okay, so you don't need to watch the entire video. You ask it, it's going to summarize. Some of this may work in Google Gemini free, Microsoft Copilot free also. The summarizer might work depending on the edition that you are on. Now, let's do a new thing. I wanted this meta prompting. Can you write a professional meta prompt for ChatGPT on active listening? Shaheena, did I get it right? Active listening? Okay, for coaching. Make it detailed. You will see all the 5 elements I talked to you. ChatGPT is kind of hopefully will be using it. Purpose, instructions. This is a prompt you can copy paste. It's going to, rather than directly ask, give me an outline about active listening, ask it to write a prompt to generate active listening and then using. This is meta prompting. Okay. Execution example. This can you also add a few short examples? Few short doesn't mean the liquor shots. It's few short examples. There is 0 shot and few shots. It's going to give you examples. There is also a point, a tip. When you want the model is kind of not answering what you want, give it some examples. Just like how you teach kids. The model works better. Those are called few short examples. So in your use case, if you're having, in your thing examples, we'll see data. But if you want to say my industry, these are common terms, give it examples. What is good in your industry may be bad in another industry. So give it those examples. Execution, say it's giving these examples, see? Non-verbal cues, what is the scenario, what is the dialogue, and all that. You can just copy paste this, you don't need to worry. So this is a meta prompt. So you can copy this, and then go to whatever is your editor, and then paste it. So you can learn this way also how to do prompting more effectively. So this is meta prompting. So explore GPTs. There is a DALI GPT available. How do you generate images, which will be very useful for you. When you generate, how do I get a perfect image? You can ask it to say, can you generate a prompt for this scenario? It's going to give you very detailed prompt that it can generate. There are GPTs for prompt generation. So they are image prompters. So those will be fun. Okay. Break it for smaller steps we have already seen. This I will cover and then move on to Copilot before we wrap up. These are legal questions. If you are in industries which are regulated industries, you have to be very, very aware about all this. Most important, unless you have a father-in-law who's an advocate, you don't need to worry. Okay, fair use. There are 2 things to remember. What you are generating, people ask, Venkat, I'm generating this text, I'm generating a book with this, I'm helping the book. Who owns the copyright? Do OpenAI, do Microsoft, do Venkat? Okay, that's a valid question, right? Whatever I'm doing, who owns the copyright for this? All these companies are super clear that they don't own the copyright. Okay, which also, they don't answer who owns it. They say, we don't own it. These companies are super smart. They are powered by thousands of lawyers. They don't want to own the ownership that somebody sues them. They don't want to own it. They say, we don't own it. So you can't sue them. Now the question is, who owns it? They say, it's if you are, some of the judgments in the US courts is if there have been significant human input, then the human owns the copyright. So anything in Photoshop, you change somebody's face, if you're significantly changed, you own it. Again, don't get me into the legal thing. That's how law is. But also means, OpenAI, there's also a caveat here. In the free ChatGPT editions, they don't say anything about this. Okay, they say we don't own it, they stop there. When you go to Copilots, which we'll see in a minute, Microsoft clearly says, we don't own it, you own it. They make it explicit. More importantly, where is the training data coming from? This training data, I can say about Kriba's book. Kriba might sue me, Venkat, that is copyrighted book that I wrote. Why are you copying text from my book? New York Times is suing OpenAI, for that matter. One is the output, who owns it? That's one part. Who owns the input data that has gone into it? Training. All these models are trained on huge corpus, right? So somebody can come and sue you. This is my copyrighted book. You have taken it. You do Disney, I'm sure they will come back next day. You do anything about not Mickey Mouse, something else, they're going to come. These models, OpenAI says, we don't know. So you're on your own. If you're on the paid edition of ChatGPT, Copilot, Microsoft or Google, they say we protect you from legal. Anybody sues you because the output of the model comes and somebody says this input is infringing on copyright, they will back you. That is in the FAQ, you can don't read. So if you are doing anything for commercial business purpose, please, please, please use paid versions of these models. Better Copilots or Gemini or whatever you're using, go for the paid editions. Only then you get the legal coverage. And especially if you're doing business with US, please do that. Somebody will certainly come and sue you. If you're successful, they will certainly sue you. So remember that. So fair use of the input and output. How do we know this is protected? And there was one question which I'm going to come to this gentleman later. The queries that you give, does the model use it for training? Again, ChatGPT, OpenAI is likely to use it for their own training. Microsoft or Google Gemini, if you are on their work editions, not on their free editions, on their work editions, they don't. They explicitly say, we don't use this to train our models. Like the new Apple announcement, they say we don't have the data output. How to confirm that is very simple. You go to Copilot. You will see this thing here on the right-hand side. There is this button you will see. It clearly says Microsoft Enterprise Compliance Chat applies to this chat, use discretion, etc. This button on the green on top says none of this data goes out of your tenant, out of your subscription. Microsoft doesn't see it. OpenAI doesn't see it. It's not saved unless you want it to. So this data is private for you. But if you're on the free edition of, say, Copilots, Microsoft Copilot, this is the free edition. This is with the Hotmail ID that I've got, the free edition. You don't see that green protection bar. That's simple. So if you're doing anything personal, ChatGPT free is fine. This Copilot is fine. Correct. There are 3 Copilot editions in Microsoft. Equivalently in Gemini, there are 3. I'll talk about only Microsoft because you asked. There is this free edition of Copilot, which you get with your Hotmail ID, Outlook ID. You don't pay anything. This is the free edition, copilot.microsoft.com. This is the free edition. The way to say that is you'll see this Copilot and you'll see notebook, nothing. And you won't see the green bar. This is the free edition. There is another free or kind of semi-free. This is Copilot for Microsoft 365. This is the top-end model. This is highest end. I am paying, apart from Microsoft 365, I'm paying $20 additional for Copilot. So there is Copilot for work, which comes with any Office subscription you've got. There are 3 editions. No, you might have 365. There is a Copilot. You'll get the protection, but that's not the higher end. The higher end of Copilot, you will have to pay $20 on top. I'll not say Microsoft names because they keep changing it every month. So I don't even follow what they say. That is one company which once had Microsoft Visual Studio tools for Microsoft Office. The company named a product like that. And we had to tell that in demos. And they will change it the next month. So this is the second edition of Copilot. You see the protection. But in this Microsoft account, I'm not paying for Copilot, as he said, plus. I'm not paying for it. So there is 3 editions. So the free Copilot, the intermediate one, and the full paid one. Anyway, the thing to worry about is, do you see the green thing or not? That is the protection that you get. That is what is very important. Okay. I have some cool Copilot demos. I don't want to miss. So then there are these legal things, copyrights. We talked about them. There are ethical issues. What you can use, what you cannot use. Indemnity, who indemnifies you and all that. We have seen many of this. Prompt training, evaluation and all that. Copilot, I think I'm in the right thing. So let's go to Copilot. We'll see some examples. Okay. So let me start with the simple example. I think I already have it here. This is here, if you see in Word, I have Copilot button here. This is available only in the top-end paid version. Copilot for Microsoft 365, where you are paying for Microsoft 365 and $20 on top of it for Copilot. Then you will get this. You will get this button on thing. This is why these companies are $3 trillion and all that. So they'll have to get you to pay more. So this is a Divagi document that I downloaded 2 days back. It's from your local newspaper. Hopefully it is correct. I don't know. Please forgive me. Nothing on this I wrote. So what I can do is I can ask, obviously, instead of copy pasting this into ChatGPT, in Word itself, I can say, summarize this document in 3 points. Okay, in place you can do that. Okay, so it improves your productivity. And there's a lot of those prompts at the bottom. You can see they have a whole bunch of prompts you can write. It's available inside Word itself. Okay, and it summarizes. And what's more important, I don't speak Devaki. I want to know, summary is useful. I want to know who are the characters here, because I want to showcase to all of you that I can speak the language. I have some purpose. Okay, so I can say, who are the characters discussed here? This you might be able to then say whether it is correct. Wrong. So it should say Joe Biden is his son, because that's what Google Translate told me is the answer. So it's useful for me. I'll show you one more trick in Word. This is the integration. I said, but this you have to pay $20 on top of Microsoft 365. This is Copilot integration, so it's done. It comes automatically if you have the subscription. It is an add-on. Yes, it is an add-on in that sense. Okay, I can say, I don't speak Divagi, but I can highlight it here. Divagi. Okay, sorry. I can't do this left to right to left. Somebody has to help me, but anyway, let's try. I have Copilot button here. One, I did the document itself summary, but every paragraph or every word you can copy that. And here I can say, right, can you rewrite this to be one paragraph only? I'm just giving it some prompt. Don't worry about the prompt. So what I'm trying to do is in place a document, I'm giving it some editing instructions, get it done there itself without copy pasting, moving it, etc. The productivity improvement. Copilot doesn't do. But if it's in English, it would have done that. I can have asked it to translate, it would have done, but you get the idea. It doesn't do this here, but it's so useful. Okay, so we'll move on. That is in Word. Let me show you an Excel example. Yes, please. It depends. The question is, is it better than Grammarly, so I can stop using Grammarly? It depends. I'll answer it this way. I'm still paying Grammarly. I'm still paying all these editions of Copilot. I'll stop there. No. If you are paying individually or you can only buy one, I think you should only buy Copilot. It's enough. You don't need to buy all this. I demo this. I do a lot of this, so I have to do. And a friend of mine also lives in Ukraine, so he says you can't stop paying us now. Another friend in Russia says you don't pay. So let's not get into world politics. Okay, I'm in Excel. I have 9 more minutes. Let me see how much I can show you in that. This is the data of a school. In Excel, many of you will be using Copilot on Excel is super, super useful. For you to write a formula, if you are writing lots of formula, and that's the one thing a rocket scientist can't write Excel formula. This is super useful if you can do it in Excel. I'm not going to demo that. It's going to be longer demo, but that. Remember one, your data has to be in an Excel table. How many of you are using Excel? Wow, many of us. So please put your data in a table, insert table it comes, but it has to be in a data table, only then it works. I can, now I'm going to say this is school data, people attendance, absent, etc. Forget about the actual data, we'll not go in it. I'm saying, can you help me with the absentees from this? Count the school number of unique schools. It's going to tell me. I don't need to see unique numbers, do all this Excel formulas to get the answer. It's going to tell me that. And I'm going to ask it which school is the worst in attendance. Okay, the point is there is some data. How do I interpret it without really understanding the data or comprehending the data and all that? Somebody has sent you some data. So this is super useful to do that. So it's going to tell me the worst performing school in terms of attendance. And if it has more data, you can ask it, can you tell me the reasons? Can you summarize most common reasons for a school attendance to be lower? In few seconds, it's going to give you that answer. Very useful in Excel for decision making. Anomaly detection is one of the top use cases for Excel with Copilot or any of this tool. In manufacturing, anomaly in a data or financial services, leakage, always happens when there is an anomaly. So that you can quickly detect with these tools. And it's giving me that answer which school has least attendance, and I can keep on going. It's going to give me the answers. It's very, very useful. And as you can imagine, these are going to be integrated with Excels as move on. Now I have to give these queries. Later on, when it actually sees a data that it'll say, I'm looking at a school data, it automatically will give you answers on there is this many absentees, this is how you can improve it, and all that you can do. Let's move to PowerPoint. And then okay, so Word we have covered. We'll go to PowerPoint. I've got a marriage schedule in Word. And all this I've generated, all this sample data that you're seeing is all generated by ChatGPT or Copilot. I've just given it prompts. One HR example I really want to show, but let's do this. A schedule for a 4-day, forget about this. I earlier had a Hindu wedding, so let me remove this off. Okay, so forgive me for that. Okay, so that's a 4-day, I just asked ChatGPT generate this, a 4-day wedding, and it generated some programs for it. Again, ChatGPT, if it's wrong, it's ChatGPT. If it's correct, it's Venkat. I'm going to go to I'll do a new PowerPoint. Of course, I can also use this in the web editions also. If you want to see in the web, we can do that also. Okay, I'll start a new PowerPoint. I have this Word where there is a schedule for this marriage. I want to do a PowerPoint so that I can send to the guest that this is the schedule. Now, normally we'll have to copy paste, do this. Okay, it's connected. Okay, let me go PowerPoint, full-fledged PowerPoint itself. I'll go to this Copilot and say, can you make a PowerPoint out of this Word document from file? Wedding schedule. It's going to show up. Reason is everything I put it in Microsoft 365. That's why it's showing up the file name. I'm not uploading it. Otherwise, you can upload it. The file is in OneDrive, Microsoft OneDrive. I put the file here. Somewhere there will be the wedding schedule. I've uploaded it here, so that's why it came up in the PowerPoint there. Okay, so I'm going to say, can you generate this? This is really fun. I can spend hours on this because every time I ask it to generate this PowerPoint, it brings up new photographs. It's really fun. Once for a Hindu wedding, it really brought in some good Tamil Nadu, the state I'm from, beautiful pictures about temples and all that. I couldn't replicate it the next time. And I didn't save it. So it says these are the 4 days for the schedule, and it's taking some time, PowerPoint, to generate for you. Super useful. Your boss is calling you. He wants a schedule. You have written a 5-page document. Want to do a PowerPoint, you can quickly do it. But the next time you really take 4 days and do it, your boss is going to think you use Copilot. Okay, so that's a 4-day Islamic wedding. It's giving me see the data, everything is copied. I don't need to copy paste. Is this correct? There is ring exchange for Nikah. It's not right. Okay. This picture again is not right, but next time you can ask it. Obviously not right, I can tell you that. Okay, so that's PowerPoint. So we have seen the 3. Yeah. You can keep doing all that. Yes. So I want to show one another example which is very useful. Okay, so this is you are going through a lot of resumes. This is my last example. I'm running out of my time. I'll wrap up after that. You have to generate a job description. Most often we want to do a job description. Writing that is the most boring job. When I do consulting, that's something I really don't want to do. Because what do I write creatively for a Java developer about 10 years experience? It's really boring. There is nothing I can say. Other job profiles, at least I can come up with something interesting. Okay, so what I've done is, I have used ChatGPT, obviously. I've gone into that and said, these are the prompts. Job requirement, I said, for this job requirement, you are a human resource manager of a luxury resort in Maldives, popular with German tourists, write a professional language job requirement document in 3 pages. Okay, so I'm going to go to Word now. You saw the Copilot button I had there that I'm going to put it to maximum use. Shaheena, can I take 5 minutes more? Okay. Okay, so it's going to generate a job description for me. I've already pre-generated, pre-cooked 5 resumes also with ChatGPT. I gave the prompts for that also. I said, can you, for Australia, can you generate a thing with this particular cuisine? Can you generate a resume for an Indian chef with this experience and all that? 4-5 different resumes I have generated. I'm generating a job description, which it is written now. Okay, now all I have to do is, for this job description, can you compare these 4 resumes and say who's the best candidate? We'll try seeing that. For this, you have to go for the paid edition. $20, yes. So this is what, from these attached resumes, find the match for the job requirement you have. See as the table, select the one that matches the most and tell me reasons why they didn't match. That is the key point here. So you want to tell your manager out of the 4 resumes, especially his sister-in-law, you're rejecting. What is the reason? ChatGPT is going to give you. Okay. So this is with my data. Like the gentleman here asked, with this data, how do I use it? This is your document, your data I'm going to be using. So I'm going to copy paste here. This is Copilot for 365. No, let me just ensure I'm in the correct subscription. Okay, so I've got it. Now I can add these documents. Job requirement, and then I can keep adding more documents. These, it's a little one by one you'll have to do. Jane Smith is one of the candidates. John Doe. It's from OneDrive. If it doesn't show, there is a tip. Do the sharing, copy link, and then put it. Sometimes it doesn't show those files. If it does, just copy the link in the OneDrive, how you normally share, paste that link there. It's in beta, so the system is not very efficient, but let's start with this 2. It's not showing up the 3rd one for me. I can even upload it if I want. Let me stop here for the thing. I'll show you the output. So I've got 2 resumes here. I've said which matches with the job description very closely. So it's going to do a comparison and tell me why those job requirements are not matching. It's giving me as a table. Super useful, but you can right now do only 5 files. There are ways for doing additional files, but right now it's only 5 files. So it's giving you reasons why this person suits the job, why it doesn't suit and all that. Like very, very useful for time saving. I'll go show one more example. I'm going to Copilot, same Copilot. Okay, now I'm in the work mode. There are 2 modes here in Copilot for 365. One is work, one is web. Web is the one when you wanted to go to the public internet, pick up knowledge. Work is when you don't want to go to the public internet, use the knowledge that's in your organization. What I want to do here is, I've downloaded yesterday a lot of files about American hospitality industry, and I've put it in a folder. So these are American hospitality, Canada, and that, all the research documents I've downloaded, I've put it in this OneDrive. Now with this information, I'm asking ChatGPT, can you tell me something about the hospitality in the North America? So this is the prompt I'm going to use. Can you present a summary in 2 paragraphs on what is happening in North America? This is in the work mode, so the system doesn't go to the public internet. So its hallucination is going to be lot lesser because it's going to work on the data that you have got. So this is how you give more files than you really have. So now it's bringing up the answer. It is from the research documents I have uploaded, and it's going to give me the results. So that's how you use your own knowledge rather than asking the system to go outside. We'll wrap up. Recap. These systems are not perfect. Like I said, they confabulate, so be aware of it. So you don't want your boss using ChatGPT to write your promotion letter or something. There's a beautiful series, I think, if I'm right, in Netflix. Not dead yet. Netflix or Amazon Prime, I don't remember. It's about a lady working for a San Francisco newspaper writing obituaries. And those dead people come alive to her alone and talk. So people say, how do you know some stuff about those people? They think she's lying, but not. I've digressed. But the point is, these systems confabulate. Just keep remembering that. Accuracy check, please. Humans make mistakes. AI also do mistakes, but we don't call it mistakes. We get $20 from you, still make mistakes. Context understanding, AI might miss the context, especially if it's some data about yourself, your family, which you haven't publicly uploaded in the internet. It's going to miss the context. So give the context. Ethical considerations, we talked about it. Finally, like I said in the lawyer example, you can put any industry you're working on. I can do food menu generation. Just because I asked ChatGPT to generate food menu doesn't make me a German chef. There was a problem a couple of months back when Google Gemini came. It said, what is the best way to make a flour stick or something? It said, put glue. The system really answered. And Google Gemini doesn't generate images. You know why? They have stopped. Sundar Pichai stopped generating images. Any guesses why it didn't? It's not doing it now. They are refining the system. This is what it generated for American founding fathers when the system came out. Can you spot the problem? Any of you? Any guess? Not only that, there is brown skin for all the founding fathers. All the founding fathers for American were all white-skinned people. It's history. It's not about whether they were not. They were. So this was a problem. It generated founding fathers as black people or Native Americans and all that. It's one example, but it had more examples of it. So the right said it became too left, left said it became too right, and all that is going on. Sundar Pichai said, okay, let me remove human face generation for now. Can you guess why it behaved this way? One, training data. You are asking the system to be creative. In Copilot, you will see a setting, creative, balance, this, that adjusts the temperature. You are asking it to be creative. It creatively thought. And you can't fix it, because when you fix it, we go back to my first slide. This is the first technology where computers can generate content. You are asking it to generate content. You wanted to give content, then Google is there. There's two distinct things. This is not about searching. You can use it for searching, but it's not meant for it. It is meant for creating content. So when you create content, you will create wrong content. That is how the system has been designed. So either they fact check or you fact check, but the fact check is a problem. Okay. Summary, I'll close with this and then take questions if they permit me for a few minutes. These systems are non-deterministic. That's how the technical term, like what I was explaining in the search. Generally, computers are deterministic. What do I mean by that? You go search your bank balance, it has to say $400. I search as a bank manager, it should say $400. You go to your ATM and search bank balance $400. You withdraw $10, it should be $390. It is deterministic asset transactions, whereas these systems are non-deterministic by very nature. That you'll have to remember. They confabulate, they are creative. Creativity comes with this problem. They are super useful for innovation, and they are super approachable for us. We can just talk. References. There's another similar talks I've been giving in many places. One detailed talk I've given for a longer duration that's available there on that link. I'll share this slide so you can click on it. If you want to learn prompt engineering, these are 4 good references. There's a place called Prompting Guide AI. That's a lot of examples. OpenAI, any company you think, put their name and prompt engineering, you will get this thing. OpenAI prompt engineering, Microsoft Learn prompt engineering, Google developers prompt engineering, you will get fantastic resources. There's also something, if you're on Copilot, go to this place called Copilot Labs. That's super useful, where Microsoft publishes a lot of examples on how you can use it. There is last tool called AI or Not, where you can upload an image, say whether it is AI or not, but take it with a pinch of salt. It's like a cop and thief. As the generation becomes better and better, you can't detect whether it's an AI image or not. Text, please don't even try. A student paper is AI written or not, please don't try. Okay, and it's not useful. Reader's Digest joke says, when students turn up and say, I don't do homework, the joke says in Reader's Digest, you should give them a star because they didn't go to Copilot copy paste. They have honestly come and told you they didn't do the homework. Okay, take a photograph of this slide. There is a feedback you can fill. It's just 4 or 5 questions. I don't ask your name is also optional. If you fill the feedback, you will get a link to download the slide. That's all what I wanted to cover. So if time is there, I can take a few questions. Thank you so much. Any questions? Yes. The same thing, it really costs them a lot of money to run this. A particular query takes about $1 or something for them to run an answer. It is really, really expensive. So they are going to get the money back from you in some form or fashion. It's just like what happened with Gmail earlier. They gave you unlimited storage. They said 50 GB, 15 GB. Then later they will say one email you'll have to pay, something like that. I'm in paid version. Most of us are in paid Gmail today. That's the same direction these are also going to go. They want you to get addicted to these tools, and then you got to pay them. Yes, sorry. Yes. 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 I know a popular Tamil writer makes it a point only to use the free edition, and he's generating images, but then, sorry. Yeah, get it. Okay. Okay, that's a tough question. We'll probably take it offline detail, but I'll tell you this. When Google came 20, 30 years back itself, plagiarism has started. People copy paste, it's just making it a little easier. But I will appreciate a student who has copy pasted it, creatively given some prompts and changed it. Okay, jokes aside, the way I will say, rather than, of course, you have to determine which level of class you'll have to bring in these tools to student. We didn't teach them PowerPoint, Word 15 years back. Today, we teach them, and in many schools, they don't even teach. That's a skill you're expected to know, because when you're born 1 year, you have hands, mobile phones are given by parents. So what I will suggest, this is my personal choice, train these students on how to use these tools correctly, not ban it. When they answer it in their paper, that's a problem. I don't have an easy answer. How do you prevent people from submitting papers which are copy pasted from ChatGPT? I don't have an answer for that. But if you positively bring them that this is how you can use these tools, I think that's the world they are entering in. It's a world, mobile is the world we are living in. The world kids today, crawlers, kindergarten is entering is a generative AI world. That's how I'll put it. Shaheena, you have to bring me down if, yeah. Okay, one more question or we can wrap? No, okay, thank you, I'm off. I'm here the whole day, so please catch me later. Thanks. Yeah, I'll have to take my coat, I guess. Just hold this for me.
Let's give a big round of applause to Mr. Venkatarangan for a tech-powered session. As Venkat said, let's not be afraid to use AI, but use it as a friend to make the world a better place. On behalf of PCOMA, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to your exceptional speech. In recognition of your valuable contribution, we are honored to present you with a certificate of appreciation. Thank you once again for your effort and time.